Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Thursday, the 16th of January. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Corey Tackman over on the far side. In the middle is our guy Zeke, who is no longer sad Zeke. He is just Zeke, right?
Just pessimistic Zeke today.
Or is it implied? It'd be redundant.
You had to
People
watch
know I'm sad all the time.
Wild game last night.
You want to start with the Wild? I have a take on the Wild because I got to watch them for the first time.
Yeah. Both Minnesota Wolves and Minnesota Wild were on national television last night. Surely it was a great night for all involved. Corey, what's your take?
Surely someone's not going to crap away a game late.
Never.
That's never happened.
Did it early.
That hasn't happened at all on this Thursday yet. I got to watch some of that Wild game, and holy moly, is the whole. Are they all dead? Like, who are some of these players for the Minnesota Wild? And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter. I think the three of us could suit up for the Minnesota Wild, and we'd somehow magically score a goal. They're scoring goals like crazy, and they can't stop a thing.
Well, I was going to say, like, I've never skated in my life, so I probably can't. But, like, Zeke, you got a kid that, like, can skate. He probably could have a chance to, like, make a list as, like, a third-line defenseman or something.
He has a tryout next week, actually. No, the Wild actually did something really cool. They had a Make-A-Wish kid come in, and they sent him to a one-day contract and played goalie and got some tips from Marc-Andre Fleury. He's out there and he's stopping Kaprizov, who's practicing a little bit, and he's actually the backup goaltender when they take on Nashville on Saturday now.
Good to see that guy fill out his dream.
Can I address something really quickly? As CJ stuffs his face with an Uncrustable. This is perfect because I want to make You have never skated?
No, never ice skated.
What? Whoa.
Never ice skated.
You've never skated?
I've like roller skated.
No, that's not more. You can try to excuse out of this. You've never. I'm stunned by that.
Maybe I've tried once, and like maybe there was a time in my life, but from what I know, I cannot remember a time ice skating.
So is that like the goal for the rest of your life now? Like it's you've made it this far without it. Let's see if I can go the rest of the way. Or do you? I can't believe that. Is that? Or Zeke, are you also never an ice skater?
It's been a long time. I've done it, but it's been a long time. You know, Staples Motley really didn't have a blooming hockey program. You have to go down the road to Wadena to do it. And I'm sure Bertha Hewitt's the same way, but yeah, just not many opportunities with NDL now, the huge youth hockey program in Detroit Lakes. I mean, everyone has the opportunity to do it, outdoor rinks and everything. It was just never readily available in Staples.
Yeah. My brother had a friend in growing up and through high school whose parents had like they would make a rink in their yard. So he skated like a considerably more times than I have because they'd invite them over. Like they'd invite him and their friends over and they'd all just go ice skating at their place. But yeah, I've never ice skated. I've skied once in my life, and that ended up with at Ski-Gull, and that ended up with me taking out my buddy like from the back of the knees. So because I just couldn't stop. So my winter sports, like actual outdoor winter sports, and me are just not a good mix. So I've just tried to stay away from them because really, all I'm gonna do is just embarrass and hurt myself.
We have to plan a day out in Detroit Lakes. We'll get you up on Detroit Mountain. We'll take you over to the outdoor rink. We'll take you to the Kent Freeman. We'll get you on skates. I think the last time I was on skates was at the old hockey arena in Wadena before the tornado took that one out. May have been the last time I skated.
Sure.
No.
Oh, my wife and I went on a really hot date before we were married. We went skating in Brainerd. That's the last time. So it's been years for me. But yeah, I mean, I grew up. We had an outdoor rink in my hometown. I never learned how. I couldn't stop. That was my fatal flaw. Getting Mighty Ducks. I didn't know how to stop. But
I'm smelling a video coming where the three of us race.
Some skates. I'm totally in on that. There's a rink that's a half a block from my house. We can
Let's set it up.
perfect. I can't wait to not get past the starting line.
Break your arm.
Right. If you pizza when you should have French fried. If you pizza when you should have French fried, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, that's me. I'm Ike going down the hill that just doesn't know how to stop and crashes into the building. That's me. Anyway, so that being said, I look forward to the Wild basically going, okay, fine. Just go out there, figure it out.
Is there hope on the horizon for health here, or what's it look
Coming
like?
back soon, Zeke?
I don't know. Spurgeon, well, he broke his leg against Nashville that one time on the dirty hit there. So I've heard prognosis on that is better than what was originally foreseen. He may be back this season, but Brock Faber's still banged up. Kaprizov, who knows? The stupid thing about hockey is that they can just designate a part of the body. Lower body injury is what it is. And, that could be a stubbed toe. I mean, when Matt Zuccarello missed time with a lacerated testicle, that was a lower body injury. It can be a torn AC. Nobody knows. They're so generic with these injuries that nobody knows what's going on except the team and the trainers, and maybe they keep it that way so there's not targetings. Kaprizov's right knee's banged up. Boom, you're going to go after that right knee in the game and try to knock him out. So it's anybody's guess, but the whole team is suffering when you got Declan Chisholm on the second and third pairing for this team. I mean, I think the stat on Philip Gustafsson, he's given up 19 goals in 4 games or something. And yeah, a lot of that's on the goaltender, but a lot of it's on the defense too, because it's not great. Zach Bogosian's not a second line defenseman, and John Merrill is not a top line defenseman. It's awful right now.
Yeah, I like too, though. I like your theory, Zeke. We should just assume anytime somebody has a lower body injury that they injured their testicle.
It's a lacerated testicle. We've seen it so many times.
Lacerated testicle sounds like a Tenacious D album.
Yeah, it does.
By the way, too, there's one thing about last night's game for the Wild, though, I do want to think about. That hit from McDavid. Was that dirty, Zeke?
I haven't seen it yet. Should I look at it right now?
Yeah. Okay. So
if it was a hit by McDavid, there's no way it's going to be dirty.
It was
like the LA Rams tonight.
It was so basically, I believe it was Johansson took an elbow to the face, and they didn't call anything for it.
Oh, is that the one where they thought he hit himself in the face with his stick? Yeah, I did see
no,
that.
The ref told Middleton that. Because the Middleton's like, hey, what'd you see? And the ref was like, I don't know, it looked like he hit himself in the face with his own skate.
I did see that one.
David kind of like chicken wing him, like as he's skating by. But yeah, it's Connor McDavid, so they're not gonna.
The ref thought you're hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself.
Yeah, that's the explanation that Middleton got. Yeah, it's a Connor McDavid call. I mean, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, they're going to get that all the time. Austin Matthews. Kaprizov won't, because for some reason he's not considered one of the game's biggest stars right now. But those other 4 guys will get it.
Yeah, he's he's got to play for a bigger market, I guess.
Yep.
He's got to play. That might actually be helpful too.
that would be good. He's only falling out of Hart Trophy consideration, one Kirill Kaprizov, because he hasn't played in 3 weeks.
All right,
important.
So is this like, are we nearing on our typical winter swoon here that always happens for the Wild?
Is this the annual stretch where the Wild just look like they don't know how to play hockey at all before turning on a furious rally in the middle of February?
Well, I think that was kind of reversed, because the Wild still have 58 points. They're still second place in the Central behind Winnipeg, who somehow, they're having a Detroit Lions-esque resurgent season here, where they all have all the pieces in place, and they're just really, really good. But I think the Wild may have peaked too early, which is kind of, they usually peak about this time, is when they go on that 12-game winning streak and get back into the playoffs and kind of sneak into that last wild card spot. But it's a good thing they did, because it's not been great for Minnesota. I'm trying to pull up a schedule to see what they have. I think they go to Nashville on Saturday, which will be fun, because that's the team that knocked Spurgeon out for an extended amount of time. You have at Nashville, at Colorado, sweet. Then home against Utah. Utah beat them the other night. Calgary, at Chicago, at Toronto, at Montreal to end the month.
All right, hold on tight, I guess.
Yeah, I could see I'll win.
Yeah,
it's looking pretty brutal out there.
Yeah.
the Wild, obviously, they had the 2-goal lead early, go into the third period, tied at 3. You lose 5-3. Just not a great situation. We'll see if they can pull out of that one. At least we got the Minnesota Timberwolves to pick us up. We talked about, I guaranteed there was going to be a fight last night. And you know what? I wish that there was a fight, not just so I could have been right, but my goodness, there would have been some kind of life out of this Timberwolves team. There wasn't going to be a fight because Draymond Green was ruled out. So were a couple other players on the Warriors. This is not a good Warriors team. And they were injured. And the Wolves scored 10 points in the first quarter, and they let the Warriors go on like a 20-3 run to start the game or something like that, like an 8-0 run to start. And before you blink, it's like 20-5. Unacceptable. What are we doing here? And Ant, I just saw a headline that's like Ant called out the starters or like calls people. And I didn't listen to the full clip, so I'm not sure what it all entailed. But also, like, I don't know. And the Wolves got themselves back in it. They had a good rally. DiVincenzo's really coming alive, which is encouraging to see. Julius Randle, you have your up and downs with him. Ant had his moments, but it's in the final quarter of the game, final minute, you tie, you make a big effort to get back in this game. Pivotal possession for Golden State. Now, guys, I know we're not elite NBA minds here, but in a big need to have it possession, who do you think Golden State is gonna try and get the ball to?
Shot in the dark, I would say
Richardson,
Andrew Wiggins,
Monte Ellis,
Kyle Anderson.
Oh yeah. No, he was hurt yesterday.
Oh, he was.
Well, now there's no excuse to lose.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Steven Jackson.
He comes to town next week. We get Klay Thompson in town.
Kevin Durant. Chris Paul.
Baron
Parker. Wasn't Smoosh Parker a Warrior?
Probably.
Steph Curry.
Oh,
that guy.
The guy who wasn't as good as Ricky Rubio. Yeah, that guy.
Or Johnny Flynn. Yeah, him.
Yeah. Long lived. Hey, who needs a great shooter like Steph Curry when you have a great facilitator like Ricky Rubio?
Nobody.
You already have your shooter in Kevin Love. What do you need another scorer for?
The thing that I will appreciate about Steph Curry is at least in the moment when it was time for Steph Curry to do Steph Curry things, he did those Steph Curry things.
Yeah.
Like once you remove yourself from watching the Timberwolves just be
the dumbest team in basketball,
like they're just kind of existing. Once you can remove yourself from that, you're like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome how everyone on the planet knew that Steph Curry they were going to do everything they could to get Steph Curry the ball. And they did. And he made it. And he gave a look to somebody in the stands. And he just like did whatever his, you're like, yes, that was awesome. Actually, that's exactly.
See, I will push back on you for one thing, because while you said everybody on the planet knew that Steph Curry was getting the ball, two people did not. Naz Reid and Anthony Edwards, who spent time ball watching from the wing while Steph Curry moved from the wing to the corner and got a wide open three.
Well, yeah, it's magic. Sometimes you just have to sit back and watch greatness happen. Except
the problem is they were ball watching. It's not even that they were watching Steph Curry. They were watching the greatness of Looney getting the ball. Some guy named Dennis Schroeder driving. That it's just night after night with some of this stuff. It's just, they came out with a lack of effort, and look, the rest of the game, they played fine, and they probably should have. They should have won despite playing bad in the first quarter, but it's a mix of bad decision-making down the stretch and a mix of you started out flat against a bad team at home in prime time. Oh, and by the way, Andrew Wiggins does this classic, I've disappeared all year long, but now we're playing in prime time against the team that traded me. So now it's time to turn on a 25-point game and get a key rebound at the end. Oh, that's the other thing. Key rebound at the end. They're going to make this free throw, and they're going to go up 3. You have a chance to at least tie the game. And instead, the Wolves only had 4 guys on the court. I looked at this replay. They didn't have 4 guys in the lane boxing out. There was only 3. Because Edwards was behind the 3-point line and DiVincenzo got banged up. Remember on that play earlier? And so they didn't sub him out. But nobody was in. So they only had 3 guys trying to box that out from the lane. Nobody thought to get a 4th guy in there. and then they lose a rebound.
But Gobert,
Yeah.
box him out.
Oh,
Get
100.
the ball. You're 7'4".
You said, what exactly do you do here?
It was in your hands, my guy.
Just a complete masterclass in messing up a game for the Timberwolves. And look, this team they still have time to figure it out. I get it. But this is stuff that we've seen from the Wolves, not last year, but in years past, where it's like, how is it every time at the end of a game, you guys find a way to make the dumbest possible decisions?
Scripted. It's scripted. That's how.
Clutching defeat from the jaws of victory is what the Wolves did last night.
But it's okay, guys. We go to New York to play the Knicks tomorrow.
It's all right. The Knicks don't like Cat right now. He wore an Eagles jersey in Philadelphia.
And then we play the Cavs, and they've lost like 4 times all year. And then we play the Grizzlies, and then we play the Mavericks, and then we play the Nuggets. It's going to get fun over these next 5 or 6 games.
They're effed. I think I might be out. I think I might be out of the Wolves.
They're going to be a play-in team, and if you're a play-in team, you don't have a shot at anything.
I don't know. Golden State's a play-in team. They looked pretty good last night.
They're not a play-in team if they go 0 for their next 5. Where are they going to make those games up?
Good question. Well, they just got to beat the Detroit Pistons.
If they go for their next 5, they'll be 4 games under 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're 21 and
they're like a game above 500 right now.
21 and 20 or something like that.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
My problem is I didn't know that. If you're right about they only had like Ant wasn't in the lane rebounding, if that's true, then you and I'm right. I'm saying I'm not doubting you. I'm saying if that's true, on top of the sequence of events that stood out to me of him driving into the lane and falling over and begging for a foul call and being the last guy down the floor, only to have the Timberwolves turn Golden State over and start going the other direction just in time for Anthony to make it down the floor. And then he's the last guy down the floor on offense, but then Golden State gets the ball back, and then Anthony Edwards is the last guy down on defense again. He was 10th out of 10 down the floor on 3 straight possessions, and 2 of those possessions he only had to go top of the key to top of the key. So if you put that together and he just doesn't have the awareness to get into the lane to help rebound in an important moment at the end of the game, he's missing something pretty crucial right now.
Yeah.
And it's not his physical ability. His physical ability is as good as anybody's.
Basketball IQ. It's something this Wolves team for years.
This isn't even basketball IQ. This is just mental effort.
That's fair.
Just trying.
Which is also something Minnesota's lacked for the last 30 plus seasons of basketball.
Right. It's also basketball IQ, which he doesn't have a high. I think distinct things. Yeah. And it might be that he doesn't have either of them right now. So anyway, not good.
Yeah. Something we forced a chimpanzee to watch Timberwolves basketball and something.
Hey, I have a great news though. The Minnesota State sports can get off the schneid tonight with Gopher men's basketball.
Speaking of teams that don't have basketball IQ,
they host Michigan. Ranked Michigan tonight. How do you think that's going to go?
Not the Juwan Howard Michigan team.
The Minnesota Frost lost last night too. Minnesota State sports are going to go 0 for 5 through a Thursday.
Zeke, can we get some positivity in here, please?
I have some saved up. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Okay. I was on Twitter last night, and Will Raggets of Bring Me the New Sports posted, because he's got this long list of bad things that have happened, and someone's like, well, can we just get some positivity here? So he made a list of the good things to happen to Minnesota sports since 1987.
Wait.
Recent memory.
This isn't one of those like everything a man knows about a woman book where it's 500 blank pages, is it?
No, it should be. There is some positivity here.
This isn't like a book called like Land of 10,000 Acres or something like that, is it?
No, this is totally different because none of these things are going to get an reaction at all.
Okay.
So his list starts in 1987. Twins win the World Series.
Yes.
Congratulations. 37 years ago. Okay?
That was awesome. You guys remember that?
I do.
course.
I do not.
Do not.
1990, Vikings claim Chris Carter off waivers.
Okay.
Hall
That
of Fame
was-
wide receiver.
That's a high.
$100.
Mm-hmm.
That was not an in the moment good thing.
No, he had a cocaine addiction or something, and was not.
Lots and lots of cocaine.
Yeah.
They
All he does is get touchdowns. That was what Buddy Ryan said.
red flag when they signed him.
Yep. 1991, Twins win the World Series.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is a pretty good list.
Remember it vividly.
Then you go up to 1995. Wolves draft Kevin Garnett and become relevant for the first time.
Yes.
It took a couple years. Again, that's
It
Didn't have a playoff series until 2004, but
it was a little bit of a surprise that they took a high school kid.
Mm-hmm. 5th overall. It worked out okay.
Yes.
1998. Vikings draft Randy Moss and go 15-1.
That is true. That is. It feels like we're missing the end of that story.
nope, just cut it off right there.
We're going to miss a lot of the ending of a lot of stories here. 2002, Twins win 94 games, avoid contraction, and advance to the American League Championship Series.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
A lot of these are like putting the book down before you finish Old Yeller. Screen grab this right now. Zeke is stuck. Screen grab it. Oh, there we go.
Wow.
2002 to 2010, Twins win ALC. Oh, this is so frustrating.
I mean, surely
2002 to 2010, Twins win AHL
Good for them.
6 times
Good for
in
them.
9 years. Have 2 AL MVPs.
Surely they made a deep postseason run in one of those.
One of them they kind of did.
In 2003, in their 3rd years of franchise, the Wild win 2 Game 7s to reach the Western Conference Finals.
Surely they'll win another Game 7.
Surely they'll make it to Game 7 against Jean-Sebastian Jaguar and those freaking Anaheim Ducks, who I still hate to this day. We're saying positive. We're positive. 2004, Wolves win 58 games and reach the Western Conference Finals behind NBA MVP Kevin Garnett.
Wow.
Surely they didn't blow it in the Western Conference Finals and then have an owner proceed to tear the team apart from the seams because he doesn't know what he's doing.
I will say, let me defend this one more than all the other ones. This was the only one of these where it wasn't blown. They just got hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This wasn't a wide left. This wasn't a we're the better team and lost the series. This was
You ran into prime Shaq and Kobe is what happened.
and didn't have their starting or backup point guards.
Yeah.
That was probably
Cassell, Hudson were both out now.
that was a fair, I think. No one was surprised at the end of that one.
Yeah.
2007, Vikings draft Adrian Peterson.
Great.
Consensus top 5 running back of all time, maybe.
Was that his rookie year where he'd had that game against the Chargers? Was his rookie year?
296.
And then he had that game against the Bears. Like I think it was before that, where he had the punt return touchdown and he had the big game, stuff like that. Like immediately, like you go in and it's like, oh, he drafted a running back, and it's like you immediately. Oh,
we have Chester Taylor. What do we need another running back for?
It's one of my worst takes of all time.
Mine too. I still remember it to this day.
Taylor ran for like 1,800 yards.
He was so good.
So what do we need?
Good.
Whoops. I was at least
the Moss guy for. We already have Carter.
Yeah.
The Adrian Peterson thing hasn't ended weirdly.
No. 2009, Vikings go 12-4 with Brett Favre. They sweep the Packers and stomp the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs.
I never felt a higher sense of euphoria. That was the first sense of my life of like pure unadulterated playoff fun of just watching your favorite team completely curb stomp another team in the playoffs. And that was that game. Like the Cowboys got a field goal right away, and then the Vikings scored like 34 unanswered points, and Sidney Rice just gashed that team. And it was like no better feeling in my life of like we're stomping them. And that entire week I was like, we are winning the Super Bowl. Like, oh my gosh. Like
I can actually go back farther than that, CJ. When they beat San Francisco on the original Minneapolis Miracle, was like, if this is the sort of thing that's going to go your way this year, I knew that something.
Brett Favre had some magic.
Yeah.
That was one where it was like, and especially because of the way the Vikings ended that season, like they lost to the Bears, they didn't play well against Carolina. Like there was just some stuff where it's like, ooh, you kind of like there was all the talk of, is Brett Favre going to get benched because Brad Childress couldn't help but want to put T-Jack in there, and then they come out and just curb stomp the Cowboys, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. We're like, here we go. And by the way, they were the better team in that NFC Championship game. They just turned the ball over 5 times. Like,
we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we beat the Cowboys. 2011, Lynx win franchise's first WNBA finals.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. There's nothing you can say bad about this run.
2014, Wild beat the Avs in a dramatic Game 7 of the first round.
Ooh, first round victory.
What happened in the next round?
Hang the banner.
Yeah. Was that a Blues year? That may have been a Blues year.
No, that
2015, Wild
swept by the Blackhawks or something like that.
Yeah, probably. For the Stars, one of the two. 2015, Wolves draft Karl Anthony Towns, first overall.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
2015, Lynx win WNBA finals.
Yes.
Yeah.
2017, Lynx win WNBA finals.
Yeah.
Yes.
2017, Vikings go 13-3, beat the Saints on the Minneapolis Miracle.
That was awesome.
Minneapolis Miracle was great. That was also one. This is like just an embarrassing because like I wasn't a kid anymore. I was like 20 years old, but nothing like 19, gonna be 20. Nothing made me more I went to bed that night after the Minneapolis Miracle, and I remember like dreaming that team was hoisting a Lombardi. That's how much I was like. I woke up and I was like, that was weird, but also like, yeah, like let's do this thing. Like, let's go. Everybody was talking about it. People who weren't interested in sports were talking about it. It was great. And I will not elaborate any further on what happened after that point.
The Minneapolis Miracle is a weird story for me. It was the 2 best days of my life. The day before the Minneapolis Miracle, I was at a bar in Memphis and met Brad Paisley without knowing it was Brad Paisley. And then the next day, the Minneapolis Miracle happened, and it was like, this is sweet. And then
that's it.
The season ended.
I feel like that's a story that you can't just leave unsaid. Zeke, how'd you meet Brad Paisley without knowing he was?
I got more things. I got more things to read.
Okay,
hold on. I gotta defend that Viking season. I obviously the Lynx stands on its own, right? They got beat by a guy whose nickname was Big Dick and the Lord after the, you know what I mean? Like the Philadelphia Eagles had 1,100 yards of offense in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl. There was nothing on the planet that was going to stop the Philadelphia Eagles.
Every year.
And the Minneapolis Miracle will stand up for forever. I have actually no issue. I don't think there's a weird end to that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because that play will live on, and that, you know, whatever. The only weird thing about it is the fan base completely turning on Stephon Diggs within 2 years.
Yeah, that's for a different list.
who hasn't? Which fan base hasn't turned on Stephon Diggs within 2 years? 2018. Yeah, 2018. Wolves snap a 14-year playoff drought with a win over the Nuggets in Game 82.
Wow.
Not 182, game 82.
I remember watching that one, and they just snuck in to get the 8th seed, and then they played Houston and got kicked right back out. But they broke a curse. They got in. That was, nobody cared. They were in the playoffs. That was worth it.
Yep. Good on Jimmy Butler for dragging the Wolves to the playoffs with them that year.
By the way, weird how history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Looking at the Jimmy Butler fiasco that's happening right now. All I'm waiting for is a practice and a Rachel Nichols interview lined up.
He fights Bam Adebayo or something. 2019, there's a lot of good things on this list. 2019, Bomba Squad Twins set MLB home run record, win 101 games.
That was fun.
They were a fun team. Like that, just outside of the home, like they were just a fun team to watch. Hitting home runs is cool. Nelson Cruz was fun. Miguel Cano resurgent season. Max Kepler hit 30 bombs. Like even the bench players were fun. You had Marwin Gonzalez.
Eddie Rosario wasn't he?
Yes.
Didn't Rosario hit 30? Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to talk about the negative stuff, but was that
I don't remember.
Lost to the Yankees, right? And the Yankees that year, had it not been for the Twins, would have also set the record for home runs in a single. So like
it was like the most recent version of Long Gone Summer. It was the generation Long Gone Summer.
Yeah, that was a fun summer.
Yeah. And by the way, the Twins got going into the playoffs. Like that's
true.
What's hurt.
2020 Vikings draft Justin Jefferson.
Yep, love it.
Yep.
There's
2020 Wolves draft Anthony Edwards.
Yep. It's weird right now, but it's not sad.
Yep. 2021 Kirill Kaprizov debuts for the Wild with a game-winning goal.
Yeah.
Kaprizov Mania was fun. That 2021 season where like you got to see him on the ice and doing the things. That playoff series against Vegas where they were down 3-1, they got it to a game 7. That was fun. Parisi had that goal. Like it was a fun.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, almost done here. 2022 Wild win a franchise record 53 games.
Cool. How did that end?
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately don't.
2022
was that to Dallas?
2022. I think that was Dallas. 2022 Wolves win the play-in tournament championship.
That was the one where Pat Bev was like throwing his jersey, and then NBA and TNT was playing.
Patrick Beverly.
Is that what they call? They call it a championship?
I guess. I mean, technically, they were the highest seeded team. They won the game. They got the highest spot the play-in team could get. They played a fun first round playoff matchup with Memphis that I still think they should have won, but they again couldn't close out a game.
It's very positively worded, though.
Yeah.
Next. 2022 Vikings hire Kevin O'Connell, go 13-4, including staging the biggest comeback in NFL history.
That was fun.
That game was fun. After once you got to the 34-0 part, and then you started to see it happen, like midway through the third quarter, you're like, actually, like this wasn't like oh my gosh, you're like kind of doing the math, and you're like, actually, they could come back theoretically. Like if they get a touchdown here, and the most fun game of that season though was the Buffalo game.
This is where it starts getting kind of sad.
Oh.
Are you ready for this?
No.
We'll try and keep it positive. The Twins snap an 18-game playoff losing streak by beating Toronto in the first round.
That is the most fun sporting event I've ever been to in person in my life. That was the most pure playoff euphoria moment of my life. When they won that game, I remember being in that stadium. Before the game, the energy was different. You're walking into the building. Pablo Lopez is like walking through the outfield, like doing his pregame stretches, and they show him on the big screen, and the crowd like roars, and you're like, okay, this is a different energy, but it's a nervous energy in the first inning. And then bottom of the first, Royce Lewis smacks a home run into the bleachers and left, and the entire ballpark was like, we are not losing this game. And then Gausman comes up in the top or in the later in that inning, and everybody's chanting Gausman, and he can't like hear the pitch come, so he has to call time, and the fans realize it, and then it lights up like another level. So fun. A bunch of Blue Jays fans tried to pack the park from Manitoba, and by the end of it, they were cussing out Vlad Guerrero Jr. after getting picked off.
Oh yes,
the pickoff play was fun to see in person. We went to both. Me and my wife like made a spur of the moment decision to go to the second game. We were only going to go to the first, and we bought tickets for the second one. 10 out of 10. There's nothing in my life that has topped that so far, sports wise, of being at those two games.
No regrets. 2024 Wolves win 56 games, come back from a 20-point deficit in Game 7 against the Nuggets.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That might be the best game in franchise history, or best win in franchise history.
2024, the Minnesota Lynx go 30-10, return to the WNBA Finals for the first time since the 2010s dynasty.
We're getting close. We're getting close to my feelings being hurt.
2024, Vikings go 14-3 with Sam Darnold, an elite defense, and great vibes.
I wouldn't go elite defense, but they were good.
They were elite for a couple games.
Great vibes.
Not those last two.
Can't argue with it.
Teams have vibes. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, that's the positives list.
Those aren't like full truths, a lot of those, but they're more than half truths.
I mean, this isn't like a Detroit
They were-
Lions franchise history list up until 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were fun seasons. I'll give them that.
What's the scene in Dumb and Dumber? Like, it reminds me of that movie where and then he describes the scene in the movie, and Harry looks at Lloyd and says, "Then what happened? They get away with it scot-free?" He goes, "No, they catch up with them down the road and slit their throats."
after the sea bass thing.
One of those stories is that.
In the movie somewhere. Oh, they got off scot-free.
No, a lot of those are good. I agree with that list.
Sure.
I do too. I don't think I'd add anything to it.
No, I think we're good.
For the most part.
We have a couple things to talk about quick to wrap up the morning sports desk powered by Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade in Wadena. And before we go any further, we get some Twins ownership news to talk about, because that is taking another step, I guess, if you will. We also are going to talk a little bit more about some Minnesota adjacent football players or Minnesota football players that have made it into a pretty high honors with the College Football Hall of Fame. But before we do that, Corey, why don't you talk about the good folks at Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade in Wadena?
Well, today is Thursday, but did you know that every Wednesday you can stop into Pizza Ranch and score double points? You get your great meal and a great deal with it. Every Wednesday, you earn 2 times the points on your ranch rewards purchases up to $100. And then you can also earn double points on your online food orders as well. So if you can't stop in and stay for the buffet, you can enjoy your meal for a takeout and still earn those double points. But of course, you got to stop into the Pizza Ranch and enjoy everything that they have to offer on that buffet. It's delicious. And then while you're there, hey, here's a good idea. Why don't you and your special person in your life enjoy the meal? Kick the kids out, go send them over to the Fun Zone Arcade and let them run around with those little Fun Zone credit cards, swiping cards, playing games, winning prizes. Let them do their thing while you enjoy some quality time in the buffet. Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade in Wadena.
All right, so let's talk a little Minnesota Twins. Lavelle E. Neal of the Minnesota Star Tribune teased last night that he had an update on the impending Twins ownership sale and things like that. And he's like, it'll come out on web tonight, in the paper tomorrow. And everybody was waiting for the story to get posted onto, because he made the post on Twitter, and everybody was waiting for the Twitter post from the Star Tribune to pop up, and it didn't. Maybe it got posted to the website last night. I don't know. I didn't buy the paper this morning. It did show up at about like 10 o'clock this morning, so a little bit later than people were kind of hoping for. And I know we talked about this last month, Corey, about the Twins ownership change, and a lot of the information is the same, or at least it's confirming what we've already known. There were a few things to take away. And again, go read the article to get the full kind of hit of what they're trying to say. But to my understanding, this is essentially what we need to take away from this article that was in the Star Tribune. 1, there are over 10 potential buyers for the Twins. There are no hard offers yet, and there are no final offers yet. Those will come kind of in the next couple months. But right now is kind of the stage where teams or where potential buyers are like, yeah, we're interested. Like, you know, here's kind of what we can do. Well, blah, 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 blah. Kind of in that initial negotiations phase. But there are double-digit potential buyers. Now, how serious are each of those potential buyers? We don't quite know. But we at least know that there are over 10 potential buyers, which is a good number, because that means that the Twins are definitely going to get sold. The poll ads feel like they can get a good deal on the market. 2, the buyer will be announced by opening day, but a sale won't be official probably until May or June at the earliest, which makes sense. Like, you announce like, hey, we're buying a house, but you don't actually get to move into the house for like a month or two later, because you just have to wait for a bunch of legal stuff to go through and stuff to kind of dot I's, cross T's, all that stuff. And thirdly, which I kind of found, this is probably the least important, but just kind of fun. They want like a face that's familiar to the organization to be involved in the ownership group in a very, very tiny amount. So like, you know, put in a couple $1 million to have a whatever percent, like a 1% ownership stake in the Minnesota Twins, just to have like for PR reasons, to have a familiar face in the organization to be a part of the ownership group and to kind of help bridge the gap a little bit. They said Joe Mauer is the one every Twins fan will think of, and while it doesn't rule him out, there are a couple others that should be considered as well. Lavelle Neal, the Star Tribune, listed Justin Morneau, who's a Twins broadcaster, but also listed Torrey Hunter, who obviously is a very charismatic personality, is in with the Twins organization a little bit as a coach or like a liaison, and according to Lavelle Neal, had some good business ventures after playing baseball. So guys, anything that kind of moves the needle for you, or is this all like, I don't know, man, I kind of already had that gist beforehand?
Yeah, I have a few questions. The first 2 points that you brought up, I guess, just kind of like, I don't know. There's no, it's not really news. It's just reiterating.
Right.
My question is, what are those? Is Lavelle speculating with those names with Justin Morneau and Torrey Hunter? Is there like
it's not like speculation? I guess it doesn't seem like there's anything firm.
Okay, so I have 2 questions then. Who are the players, and who are the players that are maybe in it? And it's maybe just those 3 that you talked about. And the follow-up to that is, why? It seems like every sports franchise that is bought, they're like, we're going to bring in this local celebrity or this athlete from this organization. Is that just a trying to, it looks good?
It's a PR. It's for PR.
Okay, yeah. But my question is, would you feel worse about it if Joe Mauer wasn't an owner?
I think it's like, I don't think it's so much for like the general fan, but it's for like the owners to try and like, you need somebody who knows the organization, who knows people in the community, who does whatever. So like former player is always kind of what you hear, but there's also like, you know, with the LA Dodgers, when they got sold like a decade ago, Magic Johnson was one of the names, because Magic Johnson, you can go anywhere in Los Angeles and Magic Johnson, you want to talk to a local representative, a business leader, like Magic Johnson just gives you a little bit more like credibility, or at least gives you a little bit of help in navigating through some of that stuff. And I think that's the biggest reason. So like a former player always comes to mind. It could be like a business leader. It could be like a celebrity.
That's my question. Does it actually bring you real credibility, or is it just public credibility? Because Magic Johnson's like a billionaire business owner.
Yeah.
He can walk, you know what I'm saying? He can walk in. What's Joe Mauer? Is Joe Mauer just sitting on the couch next to everybody? Because he's not like bringing any credit. What brings credibility from one billionaire to another billionaire in a business setting is a check.
Well, and it's also just like, you know, hey, you know, Joe, you've been in the building, or like, you know, how should we go about X, Y, and Z? It's not always maybe like straight up a business thing, but it's more of like, you know, hey, you were a former player. What would you, you know, as owners, like, what do we do for players? I don't know. It's a little bit of like kind of take your pick.
To me, it is. I don't need that. I just personally, like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's a lot of ceremonial, which is why it's like a 1% ownership stake. They just get to have their name on the title.
Okay, so who are the players then? Zeke, do you have any, like, is it those 3 guys as kind of the guys, or is there someone else who comes up in your head as a potential?
Why is it Ken Herbeck?
Yeah, is it Kent Herbeck? Are we going to find out Lou Ford is an owner? What's this going to?
I've been trying to think of former Minnesota Twins who have made enough money over their careers to even be able to sniff being a part of an ownership group. And really the only name I can think of is maybe like a Johan Santana, who signed that big contract with the Mets. And he's come back and he's served as a baseball ambassador with the Twins. I mean, does Kent Herbeck want to get into ownership at, you know, he's in his early 60s, mid 60s. I don't know if he's a guy who would want to do it.
Hey, Roy Smalley just stepped away from broadcasting.
Yes. It's the return of the page here. I can't really think of anybody. I mean,
so that by the way, though, it's actually kind of where my head goes is maybe it's not a Twins player, but it's a Minnesota, like
right,
Steve Winfield or a Paul Molitor type or
Glenn Taylor.
Or like maybe this is a Kevin Gart. You know what I'm saying? Like, does it have to be a Twin necessarily, or does it just need to be a Minnesota adjacent sort of thing?
Is Nick Swartzen jumping in? More at 11. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The other thing it did mention, by the way, is that obviously it confirmed, like everybody else, that the Ishbias are interested in buying the team. The one caveat, by the way, is that they do have a minority ownership stake in the Chicago White Sox. Very small, like a 5%. Something that would take like 5 seconds for them to dump.
I don't know who's buying ownership in the White Sox right now.
Yeah, that's also true. But like they bought it because Jerry Reinsdorf, like 5 years ago, talked about selling the team, and the Ishbias are from the Chicago area. So they're like, sure, we'll hop in and we'll buy the White Sox. And Jerry Reinsdorf was like, I don't want to sell right now. So theoretically, if they're like, well, we want to own a team now, let's go buy the Twins. They already have a better stadium, a better team, it's less of a mess to clean up. Like, and then, I just don't let them buy the White Sox because I don't need the White Sox having competent ownership.
What about Bill Murray?
Bill Murray? I mean,
he made the Saints fun again. Bring that same energy to the Twins. They're going to need it with.
He doesn't own
$25 million.
Like they all capped out. I think the Saints got bought up.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to get back in the game.
Wouldn't suck.
Wouldn't.
I wouldn't be opposed to.
I'd go to more games if there was a singing pig at Twins games or whatever he implemented there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that could work. I'm trying to think of other famous Minnesotans. I don't think you're getting Bob Dylan to do that.
No.
Chris Pratt, the actor, was born in Virginia, Minnesota.
That's true. Winona Ryder.
Oh yeah.
Is that what we're doing? We're just gonna. All right. Everybody, take your turn. Minnesota.
Yeah, one of us. It has to be one of us. It has to be one of us. Terrell Suggs, Larry Fitzgerald.
Why is it going to be Josh Duhamel?
Great.
Ooh.
Oh, here's one. Jessica Biel was born in Hibbing, I think. And she's got Seventh Heaven and In Sync money.
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's bring on Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake, huh?
Justin Timberlake, part owner of the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, we're breaking this. We're going to hang on this forever. Once it happens,
if we just throw out every name ever, surely we're going to be right.
Yeah.
At some point. So there you go. Why is it going to be? Think of a cross sport reference. Why is it going to be like Randy Moss or something like that?
Kevin Garnett. Is this his in? Yeah.
I feel like Kevin Garnett definitely. They offer him like a 1% stake of the Wolves if Laurie and Rodriguez get stake. They're just waiting until Glenn Taylor's officially out before they offer him that.
Yeah.
That feels like something that's coming. I feel like if they get
hang up, yeah.
Lindsey Whalen.
Oh yeah.
That'd be fun.
PJ Fleck.
This, by the way, this stupid game that we're playing right now is why a ceremonial celebrity owner is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Some people.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is a part owner of the Royals. I mean, yeah.
Right, exactly. And the women's soccer team in Kansas City.
That's true, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers has part ownership of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Who cares?
Hey, his business advisor cares. He cares deeply.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all the twin stuff. Let's wrap up the show quickly and talk a little bit about some college Hall of Famers for football, some Minnesota connections, and I guess Midwest connections. Zeke, dump them on us.
Yeah, Jim Kleinsasser, UND great, being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Was a second-round pick by the Vikings in 1999. I think if the number I saw here is correct, he helped pave the way for 8 of the top 10 rushing seasons in Minnesota Vikings history. He was a fullback or tight end for those teams.
I remember when they moved him officially to fullback. We went to training camp that year in Mankato. Mankato was just kind of in our back door. And they have like blocking sled, that compresses, that's spring-loaded, whatever. And all the backs go up and hit it, and they kind of chop their feet, and the coach blows the whistle and whatever. And Kleinsasser hit that thing, and he compressed it all the way to the end. And 40 yards later, he was down at the other end of the field, and the coach just didn't blow the whistle because it was so funny to watch these other running backs just kind of hit it and go about their business. And Kleinsasser demolished it. That dude was in person just a walking Roblox character.
Yeah.
Just a human square.
If you design your ideal blocking tight end fullback in a lab, it comes out as Jim Kleinsaucer. Like that's just that guy. Everything about him, from just be a dude with a big beard, like hair just coming out of his chest everywhere, his arms, like that dude's just pure 100% muscle. And it's not like lean muscle, but it's muscle. It just, everything about it. Jim Kleinsaucer, the ideal man, the ideal tight end, the ideal fullback. Everybody, I always remember like Vikings fans. There was some YouTube video back in the early days of YouTube made by a couple Vikings fans, and it's just them like messing around, saying a bunch of things Vikings fans say. And one of them is just, you see Jim Kleinsaucer the other day? Yeah, what a man. And that's it. That's all.
Not wrong.
Said.
He's got like an old school. If your name is Jim Kleinsaucer, you were good in the NFL in the 50s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That name just was not a name that succeeds in the NFL.
The name Jim Kleinsaucer is fit for a fullback / tight end. No other, or center. Like there is no way that he could like have played linebacker. Maybe linebacker is one that would have worked. I guess.
Get out and block for somebody. Have you seen the full list of the college football inductees yet?
Put them out.
There's like a list of 18 of them. I know there's a former Gopher. Greg Esslinger was a center for the Gophers. There was a run during like, I don't know if it crossed over with Glenn Mason or not, but they had like Mark Setterstrom was one. Also, Gophers had a run of multiple centers in a row who were like tenured pros. They were like head of the players union kind of guys and just real like all pros at the next level too. And that Esslinger was kind of, I believe, if I'm remembering the order correctly, kind of the start of that. Then there's another guy from St. John's, I think, too, right?
Yeah, Blake Elliott. Yep, wide receiver from St. John's. Yeah, you look at the teams represented here: Miami, Oregon, Cal, Texas, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, and St. John's University. Parentheses MN. On here. So Blake Elliott getting in too.
Are there any like recognize? How recognizable are the other names?
Okay, so here's some of them: Monty Ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Graham Harrell, Texas Tech.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
John Henderson, the big boy from Tennessee. Michael Huff, Alex Mack, Haloti Ngata, Steve Slayton, Michael Strahan, Michael Vick are some of the names. Then coaches, Urban Meyer, and then some guy named Nick Saban getting into.
Where'd Haloti go to college?
He was Oregon.
Sure.
He was back.
And I don't remember, like some of those guys I just don't like. Michael Vick was undeniable in college. That was kind of unprecedented for my lifetime anyway. Like Michael Strahan, I don't remember Michael Strahan college career. I don't know where he was or where he went.
Yep. Texas Southern 89 to 92.
Texas Southern. No wonder I don't remember.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's a cool list.
Yep. Steve Slayton. That's Steve Slayton and Pat White, West Virginia teams.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Love those guys. Yeah. So there's some, there's some names on here that Greg and Blake and Big Jimmy are going in with. So
it's nice to see Urban Meyer continue to get bailed out.
Right.
I'm just glad St. John's got a good headline in here. That's nobody talks enough about that school's football program. So I'm glad they got an opportunity here to get some recognition.
Yep. Hey, and Larry Corver at Northwestern College in Iowa getting in too. 72% of the vote.
I don't trust anybody who went to a school with Northwestern.
I wouldn't either. Especially the one in Iowa. That's not even a real Northwestern. There's so many better Northwesterns than the one in Iowa. Just say it.
Just above it's the one in St. Paul.
Tri-state area.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, we got one last thing that it's more of a comment really than anything. Kevin O'Connell, will he get traded? I don't know. Big report out there by Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk saying, hey, it could happen. Don't rule it out. I'm ruling it out. It's not happening. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a conversation starter to get people riled up. He's not going anywhere. He has 3 13-win seasons?
2 13-plus win seasons. They would have made the playoffs in all 3 if Kirk Cousins' Achilles didn't explode.
Yeah. He's going to get locked up to a massive deal. He did what he did with Sam Bradford Not Sam Bradford. Sam Darnold. Sam Bradford was another Vikings recollection project that didn't exactly work out.
He could have done it.
He could have done it. He could have saved Sam Bradford when Sam Bradford was here. Yeah. So lock him up long term. Arguably, I mean, looking at great Vikings coaches, you got Bud, you've got Denny. I would put Zimmer in number 3, and then you got KOC already. It's been 3 years.
Wow, already leaping past Mike Tice.
Already leaping back. I'd put him above Mike Tice. I'd put him again. Les Frazier. I'd put him up above there. Brad Childress, Les Steckel, Norm Van Brocklin.
Was it Steckel or Van Brocklin? Which one was the one that was here for a year?
Steckel,
the one who
it was so bad. Bud Grant came out of retirement to take the team over again.
I was watching stuff about that, and yeah, he was like a guy that would talk about Vietnam all the time and stuff like that, and like a lot of the stories he just kind of made up.
Yeah, we don't talk about that 19. I think it was 83 or 85. See, the fact that I don't know which one it was means it was not great.
Right, Jerry Burns has got to have a little
Burnsy, yeah.
Maybe he has somewhere on that list. I don't know. It's tough, but all right, that's gonna wrap it up here. This has been the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade in Wadena. We'll see you next time.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.